Football is without one single doubt the most popular team sport in America. 52 weeks a year, life stops for a large part of the population when the NFL is discussed or the games are played. It is an obsession that begins sometimes in the womb and even past the moment of death, as witnessed by a rise in people having themselves buried in NFL team caskets. But the NFL is in the process of becoming a very different sport, one that has already produced howls from fans about the game being wussified, something less than the physical gladiatorial spectacle it has become. Retired players filing and winning lawsuits, saying the league is known for years about the debilitating injuries they were suffering, having their heads slammed together thousands of times a year. There are those saying the game can be made safe. Others in the medical community more than a little skeptical. Either way, I know there are millions of football fans watching. Listen up. The game is going to change. Let's welcome in the attorney who represents victims of brain trauma and is the current chair of the New York State Traumatic Brain Injury Services Coordinating Council and who has spoken a lot about this issue, Michael Kaplen. Michael, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to be with you today.
Let's go ahead and we only have a few minutes, so let's see if we can get to things rather quickly here. What is the status currently, because a judge actually rejected the initial $765 million lawsuit? Where are we right now?
That settlement is still pending. It still hasn't been approved by the federal court, and there's still, I believe, a lot of work to be done before that settlement should be approved, because it fails to really encompass all the players who have suffered the effects of concussions. There's not enough money in the pool to provide adequate compensation for them. And if this settlement is approved without discovery, then what the NFL knew and when they knew it will never see the light of day.
Okay, what they knew and when they knew it now. As an attorney and speaking in your experiences, you do not represent any of the players, but in your experiences, knowing how Roger Goodell, they backed up and there was a cover-up here, do they have any wiggle room here whatsoever, or pretty much are they dead to rights legally?
I believe they're dead to rights. They, for years, they, meaning the NFL, misrepresented to players, to the public at large, the dangers of concussions. They misrepresented the medical research when it came to concussions. They gave their players false and misleading information concerning the risks of concussions and when it was safe to return to the game. Without question, football is a concussion delivery system. This has been known for years by the NFL, and they have taken the position over the years to minimize the risks that players face, to tell the public at large that concussions are a simple problem with a simple fix. And they have been telling parents that it's okay for children to go back to play when in fact it isn't. Now things have changed. They're finally beginning to see the light of day. They have proposed and implemented rule changes to make football a safer sport. They've imposed requirements that a third person watch the game from the sidelines because a coach can't possibly see what's happening. They've imposed requirements to require baseline testing and retesting of players and mandatory timeouts before a player can return to play, but there's still a long way to go.
Mike, I got about a minute left. Are you a football fan?
Somewhat.
Giants or Jets?
Giants.
Okay, I just had to be sure. I knew in New York. So, as a football fan, there are other football fans out here, and here's what I'm hearing. When you change the game, you're going to take the physicality out of it. It's going to become less of a game. It's not going to be as popular. It is not going to be as physical. You're going to soften the game. What do you say?
I say no to all of that. I say a concussion is a brain injury, and all brain injuries need to be taken seriously. I say that we can have a good football game and enjoy ourselves as fans and minimize the risk of brain injuries. Our goal should be to prevent all preventable brain injuries from taking place. You can't prevent every brain injury from taking place, every concussion from happening on the field, but when those concussions do happen, you have to provide proper and adequate compensation and protection to players so that they get the rehabilitation that they need. Right now, that still is not taking place.
Michael, we are out of time, unfortunately, but we are going to discuss this again because there's a whole lot more to go, including eventually how many billions this is going to cost the NFL. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. We'll do it again soon, my friend.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
All right, that's our stick and ball segment for the day. We're going to do sports every now and then when it comes into news here on Midpoint. By the way, social media, go ahead and check them out one more time. Find out where to reach us. Drop in your comments as well, and we'll talk about it right here. This is Midpoint, where we question everything.